Hello, Crafty Crandall fam. Welcome to today's video. Today I am doing a super cozy fall sketch with me video because I am embracing all of the fall vibes. I've got my flannel, I've got my cappuccino, the leaves are falling outside and I am so excited for it because fall, like pretty much every other season, is one of my favorite seasons. So I am going to be doing a sketch with me today and I hope that you enjoy it. I plan on using my illo sketchbook for this, and I plan on using my Posca markers for this, which is something I never do because I'm not a super big marker person, but I wanted to try them out. Like I said in my haul video where I hauled them, I am excited to try to use them because it is one of those supplies that YouTube recommends a ton, and so I just want to see what all the hype is about. So I'm excited to make some fall related illustrations for you today, and I'm so happy to have you around. Without any further ado, let's hop into the illustrations, shall we?
All right, jumping into the sketch for this piece, I knew that I wanted to paint draw a cozy fall scene, and so I just kind of Googled fall scene and literally just plucked random things from that. There wasn't much of a reference at all for this piece. I really just kind of took it upon myself to draw all of my favorite fall things, so that includes obviously pumpkins. I love gourds. My dad is very good at buying and restoring gourds, so he paints them over and it looks so cool, and so I really wanted to represent that in this piece. I love turkeys. Turkeys are some of my favorite birds, and I have never drawn a turkey before, so I wanted to include a turkey in my illustration, and then obviously some nice fall foliage just to pull it all together, because there is nothing better than taking a long drive during the fall time and seeing and taking in all of the trees. I knew that my colors for this piece were going to be extremely simple, given that these Posca markers are extremely opaque and I don't know a good mechanism for mixing them, so you kind of have to do more of like a cell shading approach where you shade in blocks with colors slightly darker or different than the colors that you have on top. So I kind of approached this piece in that manner, and it was different for me. I am very used to painting at this point, and so to use this medium was definitely a challenge. It was something that I didn't really anticipate going into it as a challenge, but it was a challenge nonetheless. I experienced a little bit of difficulty as far as the medium was concerned, getting that really flat, opaque look that you see all the time in a bunch of different Posca marker illustrations. I wasn't really getting that, and I think it's because in part I'm not very patient. Like when I am doing coloring, I want to spread a lot of color over a large area at the same time, and so these markers don't really let you do that. That is probably why I don't use markers very frequently, and is also why I am not a colored pencil artist, because the thing I appreciate most about painting is that you can cover large expanses very quickly with color. Particularly with my favorite medium, watercolor, I can basically do a flat wash of color in a couple of minutes, whereas with a colored pencil that would take me all day. Moving on, as far as the rest of the illustration is concerned, I definitely applied this approach throughout. As I got further and further into the illustration, such as with this gourd, I kind of got a little bit more ambitious with my coloring and decided to try to not mix colors necessarily, but apply them in such a way that they looked mixed, or like the colors were more realistic, I guess, than with the pumpkin per se. And so with the gourd, I started with the lighter color first, and I kind of worked that in all of the places that I thought it should be, and then I went back in with the green colors on top of it, but then at the very end came back and kind of filled in the voids with the yellow to make it a flat color, but such that the colors did kind of meld together a little bit better. Overall, I definitely think I need some work with this medium. I think that this is one of those things that just takes practice to get really good at. I also feel like I could have stood to have had a couple of additional colors to kind of make some more seamless color transitions throughout this piece. Most specifically, if you buy this set, please note that it does not have a darker brown color. So typically when you get, a set of paints or whatever, you'll have the lighter brown and then a darker brown, and I've just gotten really used to having both. And so when I had this illustration in my head, I, for whatever reason, thought that I did have both browns. And so when I started actually working on it and, creating it, I realized that I didn't have that darker brown shade. And so I ended up having to shade all of the brown with black, which didn't work as well as I would have liked to have. And so that is just something I would note. If you're going to buy this set of Posca markers, you might also want to try to find a darker brown color to add to the set as well. I'm going to try to search on my own on just like Amazon or something to find said darker brown color. It has to exist. It just doesn't come in this set, and I bought a specific set. So that was the one downside. It would have been super useful here on the wings of the turkey to be able to differentiate the feathers and kind of shade the feathers, which I did not end up doing because I didn't want to do it with black, because I didn't want to call attention to the feathers any more than they already were, just being different colors than the rest of the turkey. So it was really frustrating to not have that. Now, could I have just gone in with a paint or, a colored pencil? Yeah, I could have. Hello, I'm a lazy artist. But I also just wanted to create an illustration with the tool that I set out to use and didn't want to use a mixed media approach. So I have to acknowledge the limitations of the medium that I chose, and that was one of them. I know at this point I'm rambling. I do apologize, but it's just one of those things, like when you come across it, that you get frustrated with. I will say this blue color worked so well over the top of the gray. This is my favorite part of this illustration. I freaking love how it turned out. The little feather details with the blue was fantastic. I think it just adds a lot of dimension to the turkey, and at least in the brief moment that I spent studying some references on Google of turkeys, it appeared that they did have some blue coloration to some of their feathers. And so I thought that even though it wasn't necessarily the most realistic color to put on a turkey, it wasn't the most out there either. I had so much fun doing the feathers of the turkey. I really loved just experimenting with textures with respect to this medium. That was a really fun way to kind of add some dimension to this piece without being able to add a lot of shading like I'm used to doing. And so that would be another recommendation I have if you're going to start using Posca markers. If you're someone like me who is into painting and doesn't know how to do this whole marker thing, this was a really great way to make the piece just pop a little bit more and add some fun and add some dimension without having all of the convenience colors or the ability to mix the colors that would have made this piece easier if I were to have painted it. Overall, this piece was just a really fun exploration into a new medium. It was also my first time using this sketchbook. So this is the Illo sketchbook. I hauled this at the same time that I hauled the Posca markers, and I have to say the sketchbook held up really well while I was working on the piece. I was impressed. The paper was, I think, just thick enough to handle the markers really well. I think if I had gone over with additional layers on top of what I did, the paper would have started to crumble, similar to if you use water on a piece of paper that is too thin or isn't watercolor paper. I did see some, I don't want to call it pilling, but it's similar to pilling of the paper with the marker strokes that I was making. You'll see a detailed shot of that toward the end where I kind of show you what that looks like. But I also just wanted to note that what you don't see in my final pan shots of this piece is that the paper does warp with these markers. It doesn't do it while I am actually applying the paint markers to the paper, but afterwards the paper was so warped because I left it open on my desk and it was not, it didn't look great. This doesn't really bother me. I'm used to this with respect to, my general watercolor paper. And, if I close the sketchbook and leave a heavy book on top of it, it will, bring the paper back down to a mostly unwarped state. But I just want to mention it in case, anyone here is watching who wants to buy these supplies. That's just something that you'll need to be aware of, is that the paper will warp if you use these markers on the paper, at least to the extent that I did. I mean, obviously here I am using quite a bit of marker on this paper, and so I think, it's reasonable to have some form of warping, in my opinion. Overall, this was, again, a great exploration into new art supplies, new techniques, and just a fun step along my artistic journey. I love trying new things. I think that it is one way to grow as an artist. Like I said, this piece did really challenge me, and so facing those challenges and making a piece of artwork that I am personally very happy with was just a really great exploration and a lot of fun to do. I had so much fun doing the text here at the top of the illustration. I love typography. I'm no good at it. There are people who are absolutely amazing at it. That is not me. But nonetheless, I do enjoy doing hand lettering and things like that, especially in my sketchbook. So this was just a really enjoyable part of this piece for me as well. Overall, I am so excited for the fall season. I can't wait to continue it. I can't wait to carve pumpkins and go to various fall-themed activities. I'm looking forward to Halloween, though I personally don't like scary movies or anything. I do enjoy the Halloween spirit. I love candy. I'll eat all of the Halloween candy. So that's something fun, and just in general, this season is always a really enjoyable time, and I hope that you are able to enjoy some of the fall vibes wherever you are, be it here in the Northeast or, wherever you might be. I hope that you can channel some of these fall vibes from me to you and just really enjoy it. Get your fall beverages, get your fall candy, and just get ready to enjoy this season while we have it, because we all know what comes after the fall, at least here in North America, and that, of course, is winter. Which, don't get me wrong, I love every season. I find something to enjoy in every single one. I am a big snowboarder, so the winter doesn't bug me as much as I just made it sound, but I do like to appreciate the fall while we have it. And that was truly the spirit of this illustration. Please let me know what you thought of this illustration. Let me know if you have any tips for me on using Posca markers, as again, this was my first time really using them in an illustration, and I am always trying to learn and better myself when it comes to my artwork and my techniques. I would really love to hear from you in the comments down below, or you can check out my Instagram page at Crafty Crandall and DM me there. I'm always available if you want to talk artwork. With that said, you guys, again, I really appreciate you watching this video. Please let me know if you liked it down below. I did try a different editing technique this time as far as the beginning was concerned. I tried to incorporate just a bit more B-roll type footage for you so that you could see some, fall inspiration, if you will. And so here is the final piece. The details of the turkey, again, are my favorite, and I am so excited with how this piece turned out.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I am so happy to have you here. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you really liked it, consider subscribing to my channel. I post new art and book related content every single Tuesday and occasionally on Fridays. I would love to have you around in the Crafty Crandall fam, so consider that if you're interested. If not, I will catch you when I catch you. Bye!